Okay. All right, I think we're recording. Yes. So I'm going to share a few of the key learnings from Matrixx. So I just wanted to clarify what this event is. So it's called Matrixx, and it's essentially helping people to shape and create their goals and their dreams. A lot of them are entrepreneurs, but there are even people in the corporate world. And then really helping to break through what's holding them back, and spend a lot of time on different aspects. And there's been a few key things that really resonated with me personally. I'm only going to share, obviously it was 6 full days, so I'm just going to share a few pieces that really resonated with me personally. Most of it is in thinking into results, so there's some different people are at different places. You would have heard some of these concepts, but I hopefully may share them in a little bit of a different way. And it's there's about 100 people, 100 clients, there's about 20 consultants, so it's a good ratio of consultants to clients. And the clients have invested a lot of money, and they come from all around the world and to participate. So they are really coming to make a big shift. So we've got, the whole room is a really high vibration. I felt exhausted when I got back from excitement and energy. I had to like sleep for a whole day, but it's just an unbelievable energy of what you're giving and getting in this experience. So don't mind the format of the slide. Sorry, I just I'm gonna make it large. I just kind of put it together really quickly this morning. I'm just gonna make it a larger size if I can. Oh. Sorry about that. I'm trying to increase the size of the screen. Doesn't seem to be working for me. Okay, well, we might have to keep with this size of screen. Sorry about that. My computer seems to be freezing up again. Okay, well, so this first point, on day 1, Bob came out and he shared a lot of concepts, but the first thing he said is that for him, you've probably heard his story in the Thinking Results, you know, he had nothing. He owed $6,000 and he made $4,000 a year, and he owed $6,000. And he couldn't possibly see a way out. He just felt like he was going to be in this downward cycle forever. He didn't have a very good attitude or any education. And he said that another man came to him and just had a lot of faith in him, faith in a process and in Bob, and said, your way isn't working. Why don't you try mine? And Bob said, this is the first time I've heard Bob say this. He said that was the sentence that really shifted him inside, because he didn't believe that it could change. He didn't believe his life could dramatically shift and he could earn $1 million. He didn't believe that at all, but he believed that the person who was telling him this believed it, and believed it so much that he said, well, you know, why not? And when Bob heard this, your way isn't working, why don't you try mine? He was like, you're right. What's there to possibly lose? My way isn't working. So that, I really appreciated that, because I haven't heard Bob specifically say that so much. And then the next point that Bob also shared really resonated with me. He said, if only 3% of people have success figured out, why would you just follow anyone? Why not follow those who have proven through results that they understand success? So just like Bob's sharing, you know, that was following Bob and Sandy and all the people that they've researched over the past 50 years is a process that they know works. It's just so easy for our worry, fear, and doubt and paradigms to pull us back into saying, this isn't working, this doesn't work, it doesn't work, I can't do it, for whatever, all the possible reasons that come up. And just on that note, it's came up throughout the week, but Bob and Sandy were both sharing something about our paradigms that, and I would love for you guys to think about this in your life, is about excuses as to why I can't do this, or why I can't change that, or why I can't change this habit, or why I can't get that result. And Sandy says nothing's better than an excuse than a good excuse. We will always have a ton of really good, valid reasons as to why we can't do something, why I can't change my habit, why I can't start this month, why I can't do that course because I don't have any money, or I don't have any time, or there's a lot of very valid excuses. There's someone else in my life that needs me. There's someone else in this area that, you know, and they're valid, and it's not ignoring those valid things, but it's saying, that we have to overcome them. We have to find a way to overcome them. And that's really what Bob and Sandy were trying to share throughout the week, is a lot of following people who have proven through results that they understand success. And one of those aspects is overcoming any possible obstacle and not letting a good excuse hold us back. So the next point there, number 2, is self-image. And number 3, self-image and belief. Number 2 and 3 on this kind of go together. And these were probably 2 of the things that hit the most for me personally. I think I have 7 or 8 in total that I'm sharing today. The self-image and belief. So it says here, your results are a reflection of the image you hold of yourself. Become the person you want to be. The Art of Acting is actually a book that Bob recommends in Thinking Into Results, and Sandy and Bob are both talking about it this week. But the whole idea of self-image, that's lesson 6. I would encourage, if you'd like, even if you're not on lesson 6, to maybe watch it once or twice. I'm going to be watching it for a whole week or maybe 2 weeks, even though it's out of my cycle. I've gone through it several times, the whole thing, but I'm just going to be taking advantage of this right now because it's really top of mind for me. But if you want to be a top performer in your life, the word top performer for me resonates. If you want to be a top performer in your career, in your health, in your life, if you want to be a top performer, you have to believe that you already are a top performer. You can't say, oh, look at those people up there. They're doing really well, and I'm down here. I'm going to get there. I can do that. You have to put yourself there now. Picture yourself sitting at lunch, talking to them as equals. You're not better than me. I'm not better than you. We are the same. You are the same. They don't have anything more than we have, except for maybe a little more experience, but they went through the same process. But if you want to be a top performer in your health, in your career, in your life, in any area, in your mindset, you want to make sure that you really spend a lot of time putting yourself there. And I'm going to share a bit about that in the visioneering concept as well. But this really resonated with me because I realized in my life that, I'm just going to be open with you because it's just clients listening to this, but I did martial arts for 10 years and I consider myself a top performer. I won like Ontario champion. We did tournaments and I did really well. This is many, many, many years ago, but that was just who I was. I didn't think of myself better than everyone else. I was just up good with all the top performers, and that was just normal. Similar during my education. I happened to be a good student. You don't have to be, but I happened to really love school. So I did perform really well, and I volunteered, did all sorts of extra things, and I was perceived as being a top performer. And even in my career, in my corporate world, in the workplace, I was perceived as being a top performer, and I got exceptional reviews. And I'm absolutely not trying to brag here. This might sound bad. Please don't take it that way. What I'm saying is that I have been in places in my life where I saw myself as a top performer and I didn't see myself any different than everyone else. I just was there. It just happened. I did it. It took me a lot of work and effort to get there, but I was there and I was happy and it was fine. It wasn't like I felt like I was some kind of crazy, overly successful person. And then I went through when I ran my own business and had a baby, and that business wasn't so successful. And over a few years of time, I didn't realize until a lot later that really put a negative impact on my self-image. And I no longer saw myself as a top performer. And I wasn't conscious of this. This is the whole idea of the conscious and the subconscious mind. It was just in the subconscious. Most people outwardly would never see this, would never know this. But me internally, that's how I felt. And it's been kind of over the past year, like bringing that back up to see myself as a top performer. And I realized even now that I don't see myself the same way that I did when I was in the corporate world and when I was in school in martial arts and piano. And I'm getting, even just this week, I've all of a sudden like skyrocketed to much better self-image, but I didn't, and you probably, hopefully no one even noticed this because I didn't realize it's not that severe, but I didn't realize that I didn't quite see myself there. I believed I could, but I didn't feel quite like I was there yet. And when now all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, if I just put myself as an equal as those people that are at the top. I felt like I was, because I was in the top 20 consultants at this Matrixx event. It's crazy that I even got the opportunity to be there. But that experience really allowed me to believe that and visualize myself already been there. So it's kind of interesting. You could do lesson 6 and you can do the workbooks in lesson 6, or you can just spend some time visualizing the people who you will surround yourself with when you're there. But this is really important. When it hits you and you feel it inside, you'll feel a shift. It really does have to shift inside, and it has to be through repetition. You have to remind yourself every single day that you are that person. It's not something you just say today, and it's, again, your paradigm will pull you right back down to your old self-image. And The Art of Acting, that's a book, and I haven't read it yet, but I now feel compelled that I have to. I've heard many people have mentioned this before, but the idea is acting like the person you want to be. I'm going to share a bit more about that in 1 second. So the third one is belief. So this is, again, this goes along with self-image. Believe, not merely hope or wish. You must believe in order to receive. So you have to believe that you will achieve your goal. If you have a goal on your goal card, even though you don't know how to do it and you've never done it before, you have to believe. You have to get it ingrained into your subconscious mind, right down at the core of your heart, that you believe there, without a doubt, that you believe, no doubt, 0% chance of error, 100% chance of success. You have to believe it. If you can't get yourself to believe it, we might have to adjust the goal. We don't want to bring the goal down just for the sake of bringing the goal down, but if it's a financial goal and your current income is $50,000 and you've written $1 million on your goal card, we're still going for that number, but that might be on your vision board. That might be a bigger thing. If it's on your goal card and you find that you've been writing it and writing it and writing it, if you can believe it, then believe it. That's amazing. It's possible to get there. It's just, if you have to believe it. And that's where I've been finding people have been struggling, is they can't quite bridge the gap, no matter what it is, to actually get to that belief point. Okay, so you have to believe, and again, that's another thing you have to spend time on every single day. And one of the ways to get to belief is to work on the self-image. Because once you get your self-image there, if you get yourself to the self-image of the person you want to be in your health, in your career, and you see yourself as that person, you believe that you already are that person. You're going to dress differently, you're going to walk differently, you'll talk differently, your daily actions will become the person of that vision that you see and you hold in your mind every single day. If you haven't really got your self-image to that point, or you don't believe you really can become that person, then that's when the habits and all those things kind of can pull us back to our old way of being. So that's the self-image and belief. The next one is visioneering, and these all tie together. That's why I put them all on one page. This is the whole concept that really resonated. And Sandy Gallagher talks a lot about visioneering. At most of the seminars with Bob, she does a segment on visioneering. We did some pretty cool stuff this week on visioneering, and I'm going to ask that everyone take the time to do this. And I might ask, if you're comfortable, for you to send me the letter that I'm going to describe. So one of the things that she says is you have to create a visual. That's why I really encourage the vision board. You have to see it. You have to see pictures, and if you can't just see them in your mind, you have to visually put a picture down. And ideally have the picture of the experiences, not just the physical things. Or if it's a home, have people in the home, or like perhaps like as much as you can, try to make that visual. And then it says here, create and hold your picture for a long time. So you can't just look at that vision board once in a while. You have to look at it every day. You have to sit by yourself, either staring at it or closing your eyes and visualizing yourself in those rooms, visualizing yourself with these people, with these experiences, the happiness, the feeling, the energy, the experience. You have to really hold it for a long time, and ideally every single day. Bob says, it might just take 5 minutes, so you could just do it for a few minutes, but you have to really hold that picture. So the two things that we did, the two exercises that I'm going to encourage you to do. One is to write a letter to yourself 1 year from now, congratulating yourself for all your successes in the past year. So we did this. We wrote a letter. We all took time. Nicole, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe all of, I get emotional even just right. I can't believe all the amazing successes you've had. So this is December 2017 is the date that you write on this letter. You've done all you've spoken to thousands of people, and you've had the opportunity to teach others, and you've created this, income that can support your family, and you're now able to give back to the Unstoppable Foundation in large amounts and build, build villages to people who really need it. So anyways, you write this big letter. Ideally, you want at least one whole page. We probably did it in 20 minutes, okay? So it's not like you don't have to take a long time. Just write all the thoughts that come to your mind. And then we fold it up, put it in an envelope, licked it shut, put our current mailing address, and we gave it to Proctor Gallagher Institute, and they're gonna mail it to us in 1 year from now. So I'm gonna encourage you, if you would like to do this, you lick it and stamp it and close it. So I don't have to read your letter unless you want to email it to me, and then I can print it and put it in an envelope. But I will mail your letter in a year from now describing how proud you are of all of your achievements. And let me tell you, when you have that accountability, the letter is coming to you, you're definitely another piece of motivation to kind of keep working forward. The other piece that we did along the same lines was that we actually verbalized this. So we didn't read our letter, but we basically said the types of things that were in our letter, one-on-one to another individual, pretending they were a friend that we hadn't seen for a whole year. And it was December 2017, and we said, oh my gosh, Nicole, it's so nice to see you. What's going on? What's new? What has happened in the past year? And then I, or the person, we took turns, would basically just say, you wouldn't believe the year I've had. And to be honest, one of the most impactful things that happened to me was that I went through, we spoke for 60 seconds, really short. At the end of mine, because we don't know each other, the one girl I spoke to, we do it 3 times, she said, wow, that's awesome that you spoke to thousands of people. And then I'm excited for your future goals. And I said, oh, I haven't actually spoken to 1,000 people. That is also one of my goals. All of the things I talked about were goals, not just them. And she was shocked. And the point of that is that the art of acting is I had convinced myself so much that when I communicated it to her, she actually believed it had already happened. And she knew we were doing an exercise about the future. But that was just my first sentence. She thought that I had already done, and then the rest of what I talked about was my goal. And that's pretty cool. If you can believe enough in yourself that someone else believes it as well. That's the art of acting. So very exciting. So I'd love it at minimum for you guys to write me a letter. I'm going to follow up with everyone about that. But if you'd like to also do the verbal one, you can record it and send me a text, or you can call and we can speak about it, or you can call each other and do that exercise as well. Okay, a few more things. So goal setting. So I'm not going to talk too much about this because a lot of this was lesson 1. Some people at the event had never seen Bob speak. Most people had been to one of his seminars who had heard of him before, because this is a pretty intensive seminar. Most people had been to one of his shorter ones. But just to reinforce the idea of the big C goals, and then focusing on a base camp goal. Sorry, I guess I'd like to say your 1 year goal on your goal card is still a C goal, but it's kind of like a base camp to the big humongous vision. But it's still considered a big goal. And then every month or 2 months, or where you have these base camp goals, right? Like you have to make decisions, which is the next point, that I'm going to achieve these certain things this month, and these certain things next month, and these certain things the next month, to kind of keep you on track. And those are all called base camp goals. I think we've all talked a bit about that, but just to be clear. The next point was on decision. And if a number of you have been to my live seminars, and I talk a lot about decision because it is so important. And what Bob was sharing was, he actually worded it differently, and I'm so excited because now I can share this wording in my seminars. But he said there's a difference between making a decision and making a committed decision. Making a decision means, yes, I'm going to do this, except unless this happens or that happens. I mean, unless I get really busy, or, well, this thing happened, so I couldn't do it. That's not a decision. That's just I think I will. I want to. I really, really want to. I think I will. I'm pretty sure I can. That's different than a committed decision, which is when you refuse to let anything that's going on outside you stop you. Certain conditions, circumstances, or your current results. Current results being the biggest one, because our current results create our thoughts. And if our current results are negative, then that gives us negative thoughts, and our negative fear, worry, and doubt, saying, I keep getting the same result. I tried everything. You know, negative thoughts create negative feelings. Negative feelings create negative actions, or limited actions, or no actions. And then those limited or no actions obviously create more negative results. So we have to make a decision that we won't let our current results control our decision. We won't let our current circumstances or any conditions. There's another quote that Bob shares that says, people who really get on in this life, they look for the circumstances they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. So we have to be creators of our circumstances, not creatures of them. It's hard to get our head around, because it's hard, like I said at the very beginning, Sandy really talked about it. You know, nothing's giving up on a decision is easy when you have a good excuse. When you have a good excuse, nothing's better than an excuse than a good excuse. So we have to really let go of the good excuses. It doesn't mean we don't recognize them. It doesn't mean we don't realize these situations may have occurred in our life. There may be something that has to hold us back for a few days, or there may be something that there always will be big things that happen in our life. And it doesn't mean we don't recognize them and appreciate them and sympathize depending on what the situation is, but we can't let it stop us. You know, we might have to make a turn. We might have to change our path. We don't change the decision to get there. We just might have to change the path that we're planning to go. Hopefully that all makes sense, but just reinforcing the decision factor a bit. The next one was about serenity. So this is another one that really resonated with me. You might be able to tell even just from this little talk. I get so excited. I get very excited, energetic, and which is great in some areas. That's a good aspect, and it's a good paradigm in my life in some ways, but in other ways that is not allowing enough calm, relaxed energy. So Bob, he talks about this a lot. It's not new. It was just that I heard him say it a few times right to our face. That he really tells almost all business people in the corporate world, because their lives are usually busy and hectic in the workplace. Basically anyone who feels busy or anxious or stressed or chaotic or running around or too much energy, to read. It's called Serenity. I actually just posted it on our Thinking and Results group, Facebook group. It's called Serenity, from the book As a Man Thinketh. And to be honest, for me, I had to hear it a few times to resonate, because it's kind of written in old school wording. And but the more and more that I listen to it or read it, the more it's resonating. Bob suggests that people read it for 90 days every single day. So I've chosen to listen to it because I find that the sound of it actually is more calming and soothing to me personally. So I did post the recorded version. It's 5 minutes long. And I'm excited to see, he brought a couple people up that had done it for 90 days. And it's interesting to see the shift in their energy, in their vibration, in their calmness of their heart, their calmness of their mind, kind of helping to shut down the chaotic mind. So, but it does require, he says 90 days. So it does require time. It's not like you listen to it twice and all of a sudden your mind is calm. Same as any paradigm or habit, it takes time. And then the last piece here I'm going to share is about generously give and graciously receive. So they talked about donation to different causes or needs. They shared a few examples of different foundations. But the idea of giving before receiving, and not just for fun, even giving to others, like giving your time or money to others in need. Bob shares an example when he was a child. His mom was a single mom and a few kids. I can't recall how many kids they had. They had very, very minimum wage. She had very minimum wage, and he just shares a story about when she gave him a $10 or $20 bill and asked Bob to go buy a lump of coal for the neighbors nearby, because they had even less than they. And it's just amazing when you think you don't have anything to give, or you don't have time or money to give, but you still, if you do, you will get it back tenfold. And that was a lot of the whole concept they were sharing here, was when you give, you will get it back multiple times over. If you're generously giving with a good heart and not giving reluctantly. So anyway, so that's about all for now. Those are just a few of the key things. There was so much. Again, it was over 6 days, but I just wanted to share a few of the key concepts. I'll probably think of some other things that I'll want to share with you guys over the next few weeks in our webinars. but that will be good for now. Okay, have a good day. Talk to you soon.